Hello guys, it's Pacman. Again, we come to the second live stream from programming in Flutter, or basically making apps in Flutter. So today I will show you how to release an app to the Google Play Store, and the app that we will be releasing is basically the one that we've made yesterday, which is a simple torchlight. And I hope that you will enjoy this stream as well. So let's not wait, let's start. So first of all, I will tell you about the agenda of today's stream. Those points that I mentioned here are basically the things that every time you want to release your app to the Google Play Store, you need to do those things, which is create an app icon, basically, because by default you have this Flutter icon of your app. Create a splash screen. Splash screen is basically the loading screen of your app. So whenever you start your app, then you can see the splash screen until your first main widget is loaded. Then of course we need to change the app name to be user-friendly, and the bundle ID. Bundle ID is the unique identifier of the app, which basically must contain your domain name and then the app name. Also the debug banner, which is a pretty simple thing to do, and that I will show you. Basically, it's just to remove the banner that is in the top right corner whenever we are in a debug mode. So before releasing it would be nice to remove it. The most important thing, the certificate configuration, which basically means that our app needs to be signed. And today I will show you how to manually configure the upload signing key. So that we could therefore be only the developer that can upload our app, because yeah, the security is really important for us, for developers, so that we have the control of our app, and we do not want other people to have our upload key, of course, and to upload the app instead of us. That's really important point here. Then we will create an app in a Google Play Developer Console. So I will show you how to do that in the console of Google Play, and then we'll make the first release of our app. So I will show you how to upload our bundled version of application, and then of course the application will be on production, but after it is reviewed, so it will be after a couple of days. So we can start with the app icon. To do that, well, basically, as you remember, we are in our code. But maybe first of all, let's change the title of our material app, because Flutter demo does not look really cool. So we'll change it to our torchlight. So let's save it. If you run the emulator, as I showed you yesterday, then we can find our app in the app menu. However, you will see that the application icon is really default Flutter one, which is kind of white background with blue Flutter icon, which you actually can see on the top left corner on the stream. So now let's wait until it is loaded. Yeah, so if you go to the apps section, then you can see our YouTube flashlight app, which has this default Flutter icon. And of course we don't want that icon to be released on the Google Play console. So to do that, we will need an extension, and that extension is called Flutter Launcher Icons. So to do that, we go to the installing section, we copy the Flutter code to be Flutter code to install to add this dependency. So we go back to the Visual Studio Code, we go to the terminal. Of course, we open our folder where our Flutter project is, and now we can pass the Flutter command for adding the Flutter Launcher icon dependency. So yeah, we need to wait a little bit, change 12 dependencies. Okay, and if we go back to the README of Flutter Launcher icons, we can see that actually the Flutter Launcher icons should be added to the dev dependencies, not dependencies, because that's a dependency that actually is used only in the development phase of our app, and we don't need that in normal dependency, so that the code of Flutter Launcher icons is not compiled into our bundle file. So actually we need to change that, because the command that I run basically added the Flutter Launcher icons in dependencies. So what we can do, we can just move it to dev dependencies like this, save, and automatically Flutter pub-get running is executed. However, if it's not, then we need to, of course, run the Flutter pub-get command, which we will do the same. Okay, it's done. So as we can see, here is an example how to use Flutter icons. Basically, we need to update the pubspec.yaml file and add the Flutter icons section, and determine if it should be added, the icon should be changed in Android, if it should be changed in iOS, what is the image path, what is the mean SDK Android version, what are the settings for web if we are developing a web app or Windows app. However, today we will be focused only on Android. We can also add those icons in iOS as well, and also we'll add a specific icon for the adaptive icons, and adaptive icons are introduced from Android 8, and I will tell you about that later. So I have prepared before the stream the code that I used in previous applications that I made. So we can pass something like this, so Flutter icons, and it's a good practice to add it just under the Flutter test. So let's change it to Flutter icons. Let's add the spacing, as it's really important to have proper formatting in pubspec.yaml file, otherwise you will get some formatting errors, or basically errors that will tell you that, oh, it's wrong. So we set Android to true, iOS property to true, image path, we'll do that in a second, the same with adaptive icon background and foreground. However, I guess I'll use the same paths, and I will just create those files with our new icon and add it to the assets folder that we will create. So maybe as first we can create the assets folder. As you can see, the folder icon has changed to be a nice looking one, and then we will create the logo folder. Of course, you can change the path here and then change the folder name here. However, we will not be doing it right now. And the last thing, we basically need to create a logo, which we will do in Inkscape. Sorry. So yeah, either you need to create the logo by your own, or you need to hire a graphic designer to do it for you. But in our case, it will be really simple logo. So we'll just open an Inkscape, and first of all, we will change the do not show the border, display units pixels. Currently, it's just a really short Inkscape tutorial, of course, but I can recommend you using Inkscape because it's an open source software for creating vector graphics, and you can also create the icons there. So let's create our background, which basically will be the rectangle, and we need to change the alpha, of course, to the color of the rectangle, and let's change it to the yellow one. And the icon needs to be a square always, and the best practice is to have the 512 to 512 pixels. So this is our background, and for the foreground, let's choose some kind of icon. Maybe we can choose it for material icons. Let's just choose it for material icons gallery. Material design icons, sorry. Material design icons are free to use, and there's no problem using them. If you are not focused on creating an awesome icon, then you can use this site for picking up an icon, but you can also create by your own. Let's just search for a light phrase. And what we have here, alarm. Oh, we have a flashlight icon, so maybe we can use that. We can use the SVG vector format, so let's download it. Yeah, let's just use the default folder, and now let's import the flashlight icon that we have just downloaded. Okay, of course we need to change the height, and let's change it to, let's say, 300. And one important thing, according to icons, is that we need to have some kind of padding between background and foreground, so that the icon is not cut off by Android. And there are some rules actually that are documented by Android official documentation. So if we just open the Android official documentation, oh, this is adaptive icon, but let's open the icon design specifications. And if we go to the key lines, we can see that like 25% of 512 pixels is just taken off by Android, and then the icon needs to be actually within this circle that is here, the bigger circle. So you can see that the height is 384 pixels, so 350 pixels should be enough to for our Android icon. It's 300, okay, maybe from 300 to 350, so let's stay with 300, and to do that we need to just align the icon to be in the center of the rectangle. And now let's change the color of our icon to be yellow, like light. And now we need to export our icon. So what we will do, we'll just export it, and yeah, let's just export it strictly to, or maybe not strictly, to, yeah, let's let it be our downloads, and let's name it logo standalone 512.png, and I'll just copy it into our project. So we are here already, and let's copy it here. So now our logo is in our assets, so the path is correct here in our image path for Flutter icons. However, we need to do one thing, because our assets needs to be loaded, so we need to go to the assets section and uncomment the part where assets property is. And now, instead of importing the images, a specific image, we can import either a single file, so we can either write assets slash logo slash, assets slash logo slash, and then the name of the file .png. However, in our case, it will be simpler to just write slash at the end, so that the whole logo folder will be loaded when the app is built. So now we can go back to our Flutter icons, and we can now concentrate on the adaptive icon background and adaptive icon foreground. So as I told you, adaptive icons were introduced in Android 8, and basically the reason for that is, as you can see, the icons have some different shapes that you can set up in your Android settings, or if you have some kind of launcher application that change your application icon, so that your background is separated from foreground and the background shape is changed. And also it will be used, or it is used in Android 13, where you can have themed icons. However, in that case, you will need to have your icon to be monochrome, so that therefore in your Android settings you can change your colors to green, yellow, or whatever you want. However, that is in Android 13 only, so you shouldn't be bothered too much now about it. I guess it will be more important in future, whenever the Android 13 will be really popular. And this 331, I'm not Claudius, but I guess Claudius is having a lot of fun right now with some girls. But yeah, anyway. Let's go back to our Inkscape. And first of all, let's duplicate by pressing Ctrl D our background, and let's export it as a separate file. So let's just name it logo underscore background. And let's do the same with the foreground icon. So it is already selected and exported. But it's important thing that it will be exported with the wrong size, because we need to change the size and add the boundaries to the foreground to be also 512 to 512. Those are the rules that I cannot do anything about that. And to do that, I will just use another open source software, which is GIMP. And maybe we can just save this file just for future. And yeah, let's just change this to and just name it. Okay, I'm just having my GIMP opened here. And I've already made one mistake, but we can quickly fix it. I should just separate the foreground from the background in Inkscape. However, I should just do that in Inkscape. However, it's not a problem because we can just remove it in GIMP. Oh, but there is some let's just okay, now it should be okay. Let's just not duplicate, but deselect the picture. Okay, I'll just do that quickly again because I see that it's wrong. So I'll do it in a proper way. I'm not a graphic designer, as you can see, so I'll just load the logo again. Let's just duplicate it, and now let's export it again, and let's just name it like this and replace. Okay, just save it. Now let's close it and let's open it in GIMP. So let's try to find it. Downloads, logo foreground, open. And to create image canvas size, we change the canvas size, and let's put 512 to 512 and center our logo, resize, and now we can export or overwrite basically our logo. And now we can close our GIMP. I'll just discard the changes. Let's go back to our project, and let's copy background and foreground to our logo. Folders, as I told you, whole logo will be already imported during the build, so there is no need to change anything here. And we can just double check if our foreground 512, standalone 512, and logo background 512, so the names are matching. And now now it says that our formatting is wrong, so the error is on line 45. And I'm just wondering what's wrong. Let me just check it. Okay, my bad. This needs to be formatted like this. So one tab earlier. So now let's save it, and this time we didn't have any problem. So there is one mistake that we'll just ignore for now. It's not that important thing. However, now we can actually run the code to activate the app icon, and to do that we need to run this command. So let's just copy this one. It's from the official documentation of Flutter launcher icons. And of course we need to go to our project folder and paste the command. So hopefully it will work. Okay, and as we can see, our IC launcher icons are created already. So we'll just commit our changes. So now we will run our application on emulator. However, what we will do, we will just delete the application and reinstall it, because only in that case we can refresh the icon. So either we install the application, or whenever you have other application and on production and you update it with different icon and the user updates it, then the icon will be updated as well. So now we can run the emulator, and to do that, let's just click run without debugging, but we need to be on the Dart file. So run without debugging. And of course we need to wait a little bit. In the meantime, you can tell in comments, write in comments what are you doing this evening, what are your plans for the weekend. No one is watching me, so I don't care. Okay, so the app is running, but we don't need to check if it's working or not. We checked that yesterday, so yeah. Oh, one thing that you can already see is that I told you about this debug banner that we will remove later in the stream, but now we'll look at the icon. So if you go back, we can see that the icon is here, and it's actually a little bit too big, maybe, the foreground. However, we'll just ignore this fact, and as I told you, Android likes to cut the icon, so probably 250 height will be perfect for this. but let's just save it like it is now. We do not care more about it. Now we can move to the other point of our program. So now it will be let me see. Now we will focus on the splash screen, so the loading screen of our app. So therefore we will need to use Flutter native splash dependency. So here you can see how it should be used. There's like a lot of documentation about it, a lot of properties that we need to be aware of, like separate settings for Android 12, because on Android 12 the splash screen settings layout has changed, and it's a little bit different because it just consists of a background and on the icon in the middle. Maybe you have seen that, but yeah, we'll focus on that in a few seconds. So first of all, we need to install the Flutter native splash, and Flutter native splash here it's added in the dependencies. However, we will add it in the dev dependencies because it's like Flutter launcher icons. The Flutter native splash is used only during the development, and it doesn't really matter in the application itself. So we go to our code again, we go to the paspec.yaml file, and here we will add the in dev dependencies, we'll add the Flutter native splash, save, okay, and we have some kind of a issue here because depends on Flutter native splash with requires SDK version solving failed. Okay. I'm not so sure, to be honest, what is wrong. Let me just see how I've done it. How I've done it here. Okay. For now, let's just use the version 8 and we will see if it works. Yeah. Probably something is wrong with the 2.10 version. I'm not sure, but we'll see later. So now we can add the for Flutter icons Flutter native splash settings. And to do that, I have already prepared some Flutter native splash settings, and I will tell you what's that. So we specify if it's for Android and iOS, and I specify it as true. We are not doing it for web, so it is specified as false. As for logo, we need to specify the path to the assets, or basically the image path, and you need to remember that it needs to have the assets this assets path needs to be added to the assets property in the prospect.yaml file. We can also specify the color in the I think it's hexamel code or HTML code, I think. And also separate settings for Android 12. However, for Android 12, if we don't specify the image, then our icon will be used. So we'll specify only the background color and background color when the theme of our Android is dark. So what we need to do, we need to create a splash icon, and actually you can use a separate one. However, in our case, we will just use the logo standalone asset, or maybe we can use the foreground only. Yeah, that might be better. And remember that it's for the older versions of Android, so lower versions than 12. So now we need to specify the color, and to do that we don't need that anymore. Oh, actually we need that. Let's just go again, because we'll need to run the command that actually will replace our native splash in our Android and iOS folders. But let's just use some yellow like this. Let's just copy the hexamet code. So this is hexamet, not HTML, sorry. And let's just paste it here and paste it in those two places. And that should be it. And now we need to run the command for applying our native splash screen. And to do that, what we need to do, we need to go back to our documentation of Flutter native splash dependency and run this command. And yeah, let's paste it here and click enter, and we'll see if it will complete. And it completed with successful result. And now we can see that a lot of files has been changed. So yeah, let's just commit that, and let's just commit that in the splash screen message. So now if we will remove the application again, and we will run the application, and yeah, we need to wait a little bit until it's done. And we were waiting. Oh, we already see that the splash screen was green. However, what we will do, we'll just close the app and run it again. And as you can see, the splash screen yeah, is working as expected. And so now what we will do, we will just close the app. We no longer need that, and we will be focused on on another point in a few seconds. So let's go back to our presentation. We need to check the app name and bundle ID, and to do that we will need the rename package, which is here. And first of all, we need to install it, but we can install it globally. So it will be Flutter pub global activate rename. I already did that, but you can do that on your own. And basically, the usage is really simple, because first of all, we can specify the bundle ID, which is our domain name, but in the reverse order. So yeah, I have my domain name and I will use it, and then it's the unique name of the application. It doesn't need to be the same as the app name visible to the user, because it cannot have any special characters and white spaces. So we will start with the bundle ID, and to do that, let's just copy the first line of code, and we need to remember to add the Flutter word at the beginning. And yeah, let's do that. So let's go to the terminal, let's copy it, and of course we need to change the bundle ID, and I have my domain name, and I will use the torch, or maybe I will use the name of the project, so that I will know in the future that it will be used for our YouTube. If you want your app to be positioned or indexed well in Google Play Store, then you can add after dot some keywords. You can add some here, so that Google can index it better. So yeah, but for this tutorial I will just use this name. So I just forgot to run Flutter pub global run rename bundle ID. So as you can see, some files were changed, both the build Gradle Android files and the files for Linux, for iOS, and for macOS. So the next thing we'll do, we'll change the app name to be a different one. So let's go back to the official documentation of this package, and we'll now copy the second line of code. We need to remember to write Flutter at the beginning, and the app name will be just Torchlight. And we click enter, and we see that the app name was changed. Yeah, of course in every environment basically, but yeah, let's just comment it all. So name, and it's always better to commit your changes whenever you do something within one topic. So you change the app name, then commit it, you change the icon, commit it, to not mix up different commits. So what we will do now, first of all, we will just remove this application. You saw that the name was YouTube_flashlight name. And now if we will just run it again, so basically if we will install it again, let's just clear the command line run without debugging. So we will wait until it is finished. And we are waiting until it's run. It's always taking some time, so do not worry about it. Okay, the app is running. So if we just close it and go back to the app menu, then we see that our Torchlight app is changed. So our app name is changed to Torchlight, user-friendly name. So we can assume we have this point done. Oh, sorry. Now the debug banner that I've told you before, we need to remove it. So to remove it, it is really simple thing. We go to the main.dart file, we go to the material app, and here we should have the show debug show checked mode banner property, which is a boolean property, and just we'll just set it to false. And the thing that we'll do now is to run the app again, and we will see that the debug mode banner has disappeared. So let's just run it again. Yeah. The app is installed, so it shouldn't take long to run it again. As you can see, that the debug banner has disappeared, so everything is working now. So we can close the app and we can concentrate on other thing. And the other thing is the certificate configuration, and we need to be really careful here, and we should not upload our key stores anywhere and our passwords to key stores anywhere. So basically what we need to do is to go to the official documentation of Flutter, sign in the app in Flutter. So basically what you will need to do is you can ignore all other points, because sometimes maybe you'll need enabling multi-text support if you have a lot of references, dependencies from pub.dev site. Maybe sometimes shrinking your code with R8, but the most important thing here is the signing the app section. So first of all, we need to create an uplate key store. However, what we will do, we'll just create the key properties file in our Android folder. So let's copy this code, and what we need to do, we need to go to, let's just commit first of all. So we need to go to our Android folder, and we need to create key.properties file and pass the store and key password here. Of course, this password needs to be really kind of complicated so that no one can guess it. The key alias, we can just put it as upload, and the location of upload key store that we will create in a second. However, I would recommend you to upload the key store in your app, so that the reference to the key store is using the double dots. So, and remember, do never upload this file anywhere to the repository. Just save it on your local computer. It will be best if you can do that with some kind of BitLocker enabled on that, and if not, then yeah, do not share it with anyone unless you really trust that person. And the same with store and key password. That I'll need to do that, and also do not show you this as well. So yeah, let's just save it for now. So what I will do now, I will move this, I will put this for the stream. However, I will move the store and key password away from you so that you don't see it, and I will just create a random password with some special signs. Okay. So now what I need to do, I need to create the upload key store, and to do that on Windows we can use the following command that is here, so we can just copy it, but on Mac Linux we use different command. So let's just copy the Windows command, and what we can do that in the folder where we will store our upload key store, which is Android app folder. So what we do, we can open PowerShell here. So now we are asked to, well, okay. First of all, what we can do, we can just use the upload key store name, so that it will be saved in this repository. Remember to not change the alias. Alias should be the same as in key properties file, so it needs to be upload. And I will just copy the password again. Okay, so we can click enter, key store password, enter. I'm just pasting it by clicking right mouse click. So let's I'll just use Pavel, it doesn't matter, but yeah, let's just use the name of my channel. Yeah, I'll just put the location of my own, so yes, and we also click return if the same as key store password. And we have the upload key store here. I won't open it because you can copy the content of it by looking at the stream. So we can close the PowerShell. We can go back. We can go back to our project. I already closed the key properties file. So in the app, we can see the upload key store is already created, and that was one of the very important things. And please do remember, do not share upload key store and key properties file with anyone. Do not commit it. Remember to use git ignore for such files. As you can see, git ignore by default has the keystore and jks files ignored, so they never will be committed to your git repository. And please remember, do not do that, and do not share this file with any inappropriate people or people that you might think they can be inappropriate, so that they can share. So yeah, not everyone is friendly, remember that. Anyway, now we can go back to our documentation, because we need to configure the build.gradle file. So first of all, we need to go to Android app build.gradle file and look at this block. And we need to add, before Android section, we need to add this block. So I can already copy it, and I can search for build.gradle file in our Android app section and look for Android. Android is here. So what we can do, we can just pass the keystore properties and fix the mapping, not the mapping, sorry, but the formatting. And now we have the second point. We need to find the build types block, and we need to replace it with the following code. So what we need to do, we just copy the whole signing configs. Remember to copy it with white spaces, otherwise you can have some formatting issues. So we are looking for build types. So we have the build types section, and we pass it with the signing configs and build types section. We save it, and we can commit the build.gradle file. But before that, I would recommend you to change the branch to a release branch, so that we are sure that we are on the release track and not the main branch, because committing everything to the main branch is not a good idea. Of course, with such small projects, it doesn't really matter, but if you are working in a team or working on a bigger app, then you have better control of branching for each release and better version control, and therefore it would be easier to go back to the previous branch if you want to release previous version of an app, because you have some kind of a bug in the newer release. So we just create a new branch. Let's just name it release/1.0. We publish this branch, we commit changes, and we name it release build.gradle. And we commit it and push it to our repository. And as I told you, I have a repository already created in Microsoft Azure. However, you can use GitHub or anything that is convenient for you. And of course, you don't need to use Visual Studio Code for Git, but I prefer that because I have everything in one place, whole Flutter code and GitHub and the Git version control. So, but you can use, yeah, either the Git Bash or Source3 or Tortoise Git or whatever software you like for Git. Now we will go back to our documentation, and we can see that release builds of your app will now be summed automatically. One important thing about that is that we created the upload key. So the key that is used when we are uploading our appbundle file to Google Play, so that Google Play knows that this is the exact application we want to deploy and allows us to deploy newer version of that application. And remember, do not change this key whenever you create a new version of your app. Just use the same one. If you want to change the upload key, then you need to do that from the Google Play console level. But I do not recommend you to do that. Apart from upload key, there's also the deployment key. However, the deployment key, I recommend you to use automatic Google Play settings, because it just saves your time, and you basically, Google Play is really trustful, and I'm pretty sure that they do a really good deployment key, and doing it manually can make you just problems, in my opinion. However, if you want to learn more about that, then just learn about creating deployment key for Google Play. Anyway, now we can make our first build. But before doing that, we can go back to our presentation. So we created the certificate configuration, and now we'll create the app on our Google Play. And to do that, you need to have Google Play developer account. As I told you in the previous stream, when you create a Google Play developer account, you need to pay some kind of money. It's like a registration fee or something called like that. So therefore you will be able to create apps on Google Play, so that Google Play knows that you are a really serious developer and you are not just troller or something like that. Okay, so we will create app on the right hand side. As you can see, it is just hidden by me. However, you saw the create app button, so we create app. We just put the name, let's call it Torchlight, how we name it in our Flutter code, and English will be the default language. It is an app. It is a free app. App meets the developer program policies. We will not read it right now, but you can read it in your free time, and that it accepts US export laws. Of course, in that kind of simple apps, it doesn't really matter, because those apps are really so simple that I'm pretty sure, almost 100% sure, that they meet those points. So we click create app. Now we need to do some stuff. First of all, we need to set up our app. So we need to set up the privacy policy, which is like obligatory point for every app. And the privacy policy should contain information, what information is taken from the user for the app and for what purposes, basically. So it is really important, like when you create an app with the user integration, then and you need like geolocation of them, then you need to put that information here, so that you gather the geolocation for this purpose and this purpose. For example, to allow you to contact with other users in your surroundings, for example. However, what I will do now, I will copy the privacy policy that I already made for some other apps, our single apps, and basically the privacy policy will be the same. So yeah, I cannot copy it, maybe because it cannot be copied here, but I will just copy it from Visual Studio Code whenever I have the other privacy policies. I have it on my website project, and it should be in assets. So let's just copy it from here. And now what I'm doing is I'm just creating a new text file for the privacy policy for our Torchlight application, and I will put that text file on my GitHub page that is already online. Of course, you need to create your own page that is on the internet. I recommend you to use just GitHub. because GitHub can create a page from you, so you just need to create a single page, single web page, and then put somewhere the txt file so that it can be read publicly without any restriction by any user that has access to internet. So I'll just put it, I'll just copy it here and just put new file and name it torch light privacy policy.txt. Just put it here and rename the this privacy policy is taken from the internet, so you don't need to worry. Just search in the internet privacy policy example and for app, and then you will have some examples and you can just use it, yeah, like I use it now. Yeah, let's just change it all, and we need to change the date, and today is the 6th of October 2022. Let's just save it. And what we can do, we can just copy this file and what we will do, we will go to our GitHub. Of course, I need to sign in, and wait a second, I need to go to my phone for my phone. So that's better. Now I know more. So of course. Okay, so now let's go to our code. And what we'll do, we'll just add a file, upload file. And yeah, maybe we can just drag it strictly from the website. No, we cannot do that. Just need to choose it from the project that we added our privacy policy. So let's go to the assets, torchlight privacy policy, commit changes. So now the torchlight privacy policy should be available from the paxsoftware.github.io. If we go to the settings, we go to the page, we visit this site, and now if we put the torchlight privacy policy.txt, maybe it hasn't been updated yet. Just to yeah, there are always problems with that. Your site is live. Just back to the code. Okay, actually we can copy this URL because it's also publicly visible. However, we can check it. Maybe we can check it in the incognito mode. Just copy this. And now it's just, yep, it's working. So this URL works. And yeah, let's just close it. Remember that that was just my website that I created for privacy policies and so on. So this stream is not about that. You can just use the GitHub IO for uploading a privacy policy. It doesn't really matter for small apps if it looks beautiful or not. The actual text is the most important thing. It needs to be visible publicly. So now we can paste our privacy policy. Go to our dashboard, application access. So all functionality is available without special access. The second option is selected only. I mean, in most scenarios it is when there's a user login or something like that, and users that are logged in have a special restricted access. So we just save it. We go to the dashboard, go to the ads. For now, our application does not contain any ads. However, in future, I will show you how to create the ad. Maybe in the next stream, I'll figure out if it's reasonable to create ads in the next stream. We click save for now. We go to the dashboard. We go to the content rating. We start questionnaire. A lot of stuff that we need to do. We put our mail. So this is my mail, and we set up that this other app type, it's not a game, it's not a social communication. So our app does not contain any violence, language violence, and so on. So we click no. And our app does not allow to interact with other users. Our app does not promote online content. Especially that does not promote age-restricted content, does not share the user's location, does not allow to purchase digital goods, it's not a web browser, it's not a search engine, it's not a news app. So we save and click next, and we can submit the rating, which basically for most countries it is like available for anyone. So we go to the dashboard, we go to the target audience. The app is just a torchlight, so it should be available for all people. However, I will not check 5 and other and 6 to 8 because whenever a child will use it then in not proper way, then the light of the application can harm their eyes. However, I think that whenever a child is 9 years old already, then it's good enough. And does not collect and complies with everything. Yeah, maybe let's not join the design for families because it's just a torchlight. So yeah, let's save it. Your changes has saved. Let's go to the dashboard and news app. And here it's pretty simple because our app is not a news app. Let's go again and let's go back to the dashboard, and We need to, of course, set up that our app is not publicly available COVID-19 contact tracing or status app, and let's save it and go back to the dashboard and data safety. This is really important whenever we make an app that has some user login, some user profiles, and so on. So basically we click here no, but maybe in the future I will show you how to fill this questionnaire whenever we create a user related app. So we submit, we go back to the dashboard. We need to select an app category and provide contact details as always. So it's an app, its category is basically tools, and for tags we'll use tools, and I'll see if there's a torch, maybe. No, if it's a light. Light. There is no light, so let's just stay with tool stack. Email address, I'll just use the one that I use for this my developer console. And the website, well, I can use this this website. And advertise my app outside of Google Play. Okay, why not? Even if it's super simple. Okay, we save it. We go back to the dashboard. We need to set up our stall listing, which is the last thing, last but not least, of course. We put short description, simple light application, simple light application. In the description, the full description, just turn on and to turn off the light, and we can add just simple and without ads. Of course, it's super simple, so we do not need to be very precise. So application icon, we already created that. So if we go back to our downloads, we have the logo standalone. And we also need to create our feature graphic. And also we need to create at least 2 to 8 font screenshots. So for feature graphic, we need to create that, and I'll create that really quickly because it's 124 pixels by 500 pixels. So to do that, we can just close the emulator. It won't be necessary for now. So to do that, we need to open our Inkscape, and that will be really fast because we are not focused on graphics right now. So what we will do, I will just create, and that was, as I know, it was 500 pixels. So we'll just create, let's just create a simple background, and yeah, the icon in the middle, and yeah, let's just export it. Let's just name it play banner.png. Let's save it. Let's save the project, and now we can go back and upload our file. So play banner. Okay, and the last thing that we need to upload is the screenshots. So yeah, it will be pretty easy, so we don't need that. But what we need to do, we need to run our application. So to do that, let's, yeah, maybe I shouldn't have closed the emulator. Of course, the application is already installed on our emulator, so we don't need to run it from Visual Studio Code and wait extra time. We can just wait until the emulator is up and running, and we can just open the app that is already installed there. We don't need to run it here. So now what we need to do, we need to just run the torchlight, and we will just create first screenshot by clicking the camera icon on the right of the emulator. And now, yeah, of course this is emulator, so we could not enable torch, but we create another screenshot so that the user knows when the light is on. Yeah, of course there's an error message, and if you want to see why it come up, then please look at my first live stream. But for now it is all screenshots that we need to have, and those screenshots by default are saved to our desktop. So yeah, so now let's go back to our phone screenshots, and remember that those screenshots needs to be horizontally or vertically 9:16 aspect ratio. And yeah, you also have the resolution. So we go to the desktop, and we have those two screenshots here. And there I uploaded, and we save it, submitting, and voila, the app icon is right here. And what we do now, we go to the dashboard. We see that we have no more tasks to do, and now we need to release our app. And to do that, we go back to our Visual Studio Code. We go to the terminal. The first thing that we need to do is to clear our previous builds. So we run Flutter clear. Oh, sorry, it's Flutter clean. I always miss up with those two words. Okay, so it's cleaned, and as you can see there are some errors, but do not worry about it. You need just to run Flutter pub-get, just the command after you add any dependency or whenever you save a pubspec.yaml file. And as you can see, all is fine. And now the really important part is to run Flutter build appbundle, and we need to wait some time until it is finished. And it's running and running, so we need to wait. It will run for some time. Okay, we have already the app release in build app outputs bundle release app release.aab, and this file needs to be now uploaded to our Google Play Developer Console. And to do that, one important thing is that whenever you have more complicated app, then it's always better to first start with closed testing or even internal testing. In internal testing, the thing is that in internal testing application is not visible in Google Play to store into anyone. just to you and to the people that you point out in the internal testing section by putting their names, their emails. The same with closed testing. You put only the internal developers there, or people that you want to test your application. But in the closed testing, you can get some feedbacks from those developers or testers that test your application. And open testing, it means that the application is publicly visible for some time. You can also, I think, specify the number of users that can install your app. But anyone can install your app, can create a feedback and send the feedback to you. However, the feedback and the rating won't be taken into account whenever the application will be on production, and no one will see the rating. So yeah, that's basically the testing. But this app is really simple, so we'll just go to the production. We'll just create a new release, but before to do that, we add countries and regions whenever our application is visible. We'll just choose all countries here, 176 countries available in Google Play Console. We'll create a new release now. Oh, the button was on the right, top right side. So yeah, sorry, it was hidden by me. So now we'll, as you can see, this is the deployment kit that I was talking about. You can change the app signing key, but you know, it's better to stay with this option that releases as signed by Google Play. So now we upload our key, which is basically in. We go to our project. We need to open the build folder, app folder, outputs, bundle, release, and we have our file that was just created. Open. We are just waiting until our app release is uploaded. It will take some time, especially when the app is bigger, but this one is like 17 megabytes. It doesn't mean that it will be the same installing size. It will be, probably it will be lower. Yeah, we have the first version of our app. We can put a release note that will be visible to the users. It's good, especially when you fix the bug or introduce a really cool feature, so that you can write it here. Or in this version, you can, I don't know, you upload a profile photo, for example. But now we'll just write first release of Torchlight. And we just click review release. There are two warnings. Okay, whenever our app targets Android 13, which is API 33, then we will need to fill another questionnaire about advertising ID, but it doesn't matter now because we are not targeting Android 13, we are just targeting Android 12 as max. Of course, we can change that later in build.gradle file, but anyway, for now we'll just ignore it. And there is always this native code warning that, yeah, in my experience, I haven't learned how to resolve it. However, if you know how to do that, then please, yeah, write it down in the comment section. Anyway, now we can start rollout to production. So we click start rollout to production, rollout. And now it is in review, and it will probably, maybe tomorrow, but maybe in a few days, it really depends what is the app, it will be publicly visible in the Play Store. And I will tell you that in a stream that will be after it is already released. So yeah, basically that's the end. That's the end of the story. We're creating the app on the Google Play. We already made the first release, and yeah, that was actually the whole process of preparing the app to be released and releasing the app to the Google Play console. I hope that you found this tutorial efficient for you and you learned something from it. And yeah, please give a like if you like it, give thumb down if you don't like it, and please comment and share your thoughts about it. And if you think I've done something wrong, then you can write it. And yeah, if you have any interesting ideas, they can write it as well. In future, I plan to make some other streams about putting ads in our application, and then I think that we can start doing some more serious applications, like maybe chat application. I don't know, I'll see. Which of course won't be just one stream because that's an enormous amount of hours. But yeah, I'll see. Okay, so thanks for today. And yeah, Pacman from this side. See you next time. Who is the best?